Okay, hello everybody. I am André Hax. I'm a senior director for architecture at Avanade Brazil. I've been working with architecture for over 16 years, and I'm specialized in application modernization. With me here is Ian.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jan. I'm also a software architect, and I'm working for about 17 years. And I'm also working with application modernization, Kubernetes, and a lot of topics related to cloud native applications, right? Like Azure Cosmos DB, as we were talking today. Okay, so today we are talking about how to optimize our infrastructure to increase the migration speed for migrate an Oracle database to Azure Cosmos DB with the Postgre API. So we will have some demos here today, and we'll talk about the migration process and everything that is related to it. Okay. The first thing we need to highlight here is about um, what are the challenges that when we have an on-premises infrastructure, right? Um, the first thing that we have here is about maintenance. Because we have a lot of machines in our premises structure. We have scalability issues because when we have to escalate our infrastructure, we have to acquire new hardware and new data center spaces and etc. We have some issues with high availability that if we have only one data center, we will probably need to create a redundancy in somewhere, and this for us individually is something that is very expensive, right? Other points is security, that we have to have an specialized team to to see these topics here on our infrastructure. And as we mentioned, the cost of everything related to this is very high, right? So when we move to Azure Cosmos DB, that is a cloud-based solution for databases, we have a lot of features that enable us to skip some these issues that we have on premises, right? Like we have a multi-model database here that with Cosmos DB we can use Postgre, we can use SQL Server, we can use MongoDB, and a lot of other APIs that are available there. So with this we have global distribution that is um, native from this system, and we also have high availability because the geo distribution and etc. We can have a great consistency of our data with this application, because Cosmos DB has a lot of consistence types that is related to to a lot of scenarios that we have, like when we need to have a great consistency or a low consistency, we can adapt our database to our necessities. Okay, and the scalability that we have with Cosmos DB also, we can easily change the throughput for our database to adapt for new workloads and etc. And the security is with Microsoft, right? So Microsoft already has a lot of security mechanisms before reach the those services, right? Like Cosmos DB. So we don't need to concern about it. Okay, so um, with this we take those two main points here, that is about performing cost, right? So for each scenario, we need to evaluate what is my priorities, what my system needs. So with this, we can choose about those points like scalability, latency, consistency, and etc., and evaluate uh, uh, if we move our on-premises databases to the cloud, we'll have some cost benefits and etc. Maybe we cannot, but we have to evaluate each scenario, right? So now I'll let André talk a little bit about the step-by-step that we execute to achieve the on-premises migration to the cloud, right?
Okay, so what is the process that we have for migrating? The first step, you need to plan it, and you need to understand what you are migrating, how is this database connected to your applications. Especially if you have several applications accessing the same database, which is something common on older architectures, you need to do a great deal of planning. The second step from the database side is to export the schemas for the database. And we have a tool that already does the conversion. That's a tool recommended by Microsoft that's called Aura2PG. So it migrates all the schemas from the Oracle specific SQL language to PostgreSQL. Then you need to migrate the offending objects. So usually with procedures and in some cases views, you have some functions that are specific to Oracle and you need to do the migration. Usually manually by a DBA or someone like that. Then you need, after migrating all the objects, the schemas, you need to migrate the data. And there also Aura2PG is a tool that can be used, especially for smaller databases. But for larger databases, you need to consider other scenarios, such as using Azure Data Factory or using some other services to do the migration. If you need a really small window of an availability, also one of the techniques that can be used is to use a CDC replication, a change data capture replication, to do it almost online for the last data. So you migrate in bulk the start of the data, then you do a change data capture to capture it almost online, and then you can switch with nearly no interruption. After migrating the data, usually the indexes in Postgre need to be rebuilt, especially if you have sequences or auto number, auto increment fields, you need to do it. Aura2PG also generates this for us. And in parallel, you need to convert your application. So while you're migrating the database, you need also to convert the application to use the new database, especially if you call store procedures or if you have a lot of SQL data, SQL commands in the application, you need to do the conversion of these applications. There's also some scenarios that could complicate a little bit this migration, especially when it involves DB links with other databases. So you need to consider, if you're going to migrate one database, you need to consider if you're going to migrate all of their databases to PostgreSQL in Cosmos. So this is something that must be considered, and you need to plan accordingly. What we usually have been doing in our projects that involve this kinds of migration is to try to decouple and break these DB links, but usually it involves some rewriting of the applications. So let's see an example that we built of this migration.
Here we have the two databases, right? This one is an on-premises Oracle that we migrated to the Azure Cosmos DB with the PostgreSQL API. This process that Andre is mentioned, we used the Ora2PG to migrate this for sure is very simple, just to as an example, right? So we have these 4 tables here with some data, and we have the tables and the data here already migrated. So everything went very smooth, and we have a sample application here also. What we want to show here is we use the DDD concept here uh, to segregate our infrastructure from our domain, right? So this um, could simplify the migration process, as Andre has mentioned. Here we will start the application, and we will connect on the Oracle database.
So this is we took some print screens of the process for the migration. So this is our database. So we did 4 simple tables just to showcase how it's done, and we also built a store procedure that needs to be converted manually. As you can see, the store procedure uses a few Oracle specific functions such as random and stuff like that. The Ora2PG shows us a report of the migration showing what we need to do. So, for instance, the procedure it estimates manual effort for migration of 15 units. Each unit corresponds to roughly 5 minutes. So it would take about 45 minutes to migrate it manually. But what we've done as well is we used ChatGPT as well, and it can migrate successfully the schemas. So let's go to the next slide, please. This is the schema export. So when issuing the commands for Ora2PG, it exports all the schemas and the data as well. So this is the first that exports all the schemas and do the conversion. Then we export the data with the second command, and it's all there in the repository that we will share. The commands are all there. Then we converted the procedure, as we mentioned, using ChatGPT. So it converted all of the code there from Oracle to PostgreSQL. And lastly, we ran the schema and data import, and imports all the data. And the last step is to update the indexes, and it also is done by the tool. So it updates all the increments that we have there. And that's it. That's the migration of a simple database.
That's good. And here we have our application. This one is connected with the Oracle database, and we want to change for the PostgreSQL. We just need to change our data context here, and it's ready, right? Because all the infrastructure part is is embedded here on our database context. So we don't need to change anything here on the view code and etc. So it's very smooth, and this is one of the advantages of using strategies like domain-driven design and etc. Right? So we are talking about cloud-native applications. So when we 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 want to use the cloud services and etc. We need to think how we can decouple this from our code to easier change those pieces, right? So this is what we want to show for you today. Andrea, you have any other consideration?
So we would like to thank everyone for watching. If you want to have any questions, please reach us on LinkedIn and enjoy the rest of the show.